Deputy Provost in the house, in the person of Professor S.B. Olaleye. You're welcome, sir. Today, he's here in his capacity as a Deputy Provost, and he's also representing our Provost, who is unavoidably absent this morning. And of course, next to him, we have our Deputy Registrar and Secretary to the College, Mr. A.E. Odedele. You're welcome, sir. Our Financial Controller is represented this morning. Mr. Eso Ayonshino is ably represented by Mrs. Ehonwa. You're welcome, ma'am. And thank you. Our guest lecturer of today, a man of distinction. We want to specially welcome you, sir. He is the Deputy Registrar, Examinations, Records, and Administrative Data Processing Unit of the University of Ibadan, Mr. U.K Ekemezie. You're welcome, sir. And you know, they normally say behind a successful man, there is also a successful woman. He's not here alone this morning. He's here with his lovely wife, Mrs. Chioma Ekemezie. You're welcome, ma. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting him. And this morning, we also have a special guest representing the Director of Finance in the University College Hospital. We have Mr. Ajayi Ayobami. You're welcome, sir. We're so happy to have you. And just as we were talking, the mother and the father dean walked in. This morning, we want to welcome the presence of the Dean of the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor Oyerunke Odunla. You're welcome, ma. And the Father Dean, the Dean of the Faculty of Clinical Sciences, Professor T.A. Lawal. You're welcome, sir. When others arrive, we'll also introduce them. But without wasting too much of our time, I want to welcome our Deputy Provost. In his capacity as the Deputy Provost and also representing our Provost this morning, to give his welcome address.
Thank you, here, the Secretary to the College and the representative of the Financial Controller, the Deans of the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, they call you the Mother Dean, and the Dean of Faculty of Clinical Sciences, all members of the College of Medicine. On behalf of the Provost, I want to specially welcome Mr. Ekemezie, and by extension his wife, to this occasion. When I saw the topic of the lecture, I was actually impressed by the organizers for thinking of this. And there couldn't have been any other, person who fits into the realm of giving us this lecture than Mr. Ekemezie. I said it because he may have forgotten. Some years ago, he was the resource person at the orientation of the new staff of Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, am I right? And I was Dean of Basic then, and he delivered excellently. And I must say that when I saw his name, I am expectant to see him giving us details of what is expected of us as far as office procedures and practices are concerned. This is very apt at a time when there is a gradual erosion of norms in office practices. You find unwritten rules being in the edge of some of us, and it appears as if it is norm, whereas there's nothing written there. And when the person who is trying to enforce such rules begins to put things down and say, this is what it should be, you now make that person the one that is doing the wrong thing. We are seeing such situations in the system. And that is why trainings like this is very important, that regularly we have people who will come and tell us, this is the right thing to do. And I'm happy, in the last 1 or 2 months, we have seen series of lectures. I could remember the association of these secretaries at the Trenchard Hall. They had a conference and a workshop, and I was happy. I sat down for about 30 minutes, 1 hour, listening to presentations, and I was impressed that this is going to build a very good workforce for the system. So it is therefore on this note that I want to appreciate the Deputy Registrar and the Secretary to the College for continuing this particular light, and all members of his team for thinking regularly of topics that will enhance the productivity of both the academic and non-academic staff of the College of Medicine, and by extension, those who have been invited to come. So again, I welcome you all to this month's edition, and I appreciate the presence of Mr. Ekemezie. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Before we proceed, I just want to invite Mr. Ajaya Yobamisa to the front, please. Let's keep clapping now till he sits down. Are we not happy that UCH is represented here? Thank you once again, sir. Unfortunately, our normal like 5-10 minutes tips on ITU will not take place whole today. So we're going straight to the lecture of this morning, which is titled Office Procedures and Practices. I want to invite our guest lecturer. Mr. U.K Ekemezie, for his presentation.
Thank you so much. The Provost, good morning. College Secretary, Financial Controller, Deans, and our friend from University College Hospital. Dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Go on. So I warmly welcome you to this edition of the College of Medicine Capacity Development Program. I want to thank the management of the college, the planning committee, and in a special way, my colleague, the Deputy Registrar and Secretary to the college, for nominating me to share my perspectives on this topic. I want to commend the college in a special way because Whether you like it or not, training and retraining, the more you listen, the better you become. The more you hear things, the better you become. For us, I say, whatever the institution that has trained you, UI, or the Harvards of their kind, hands-on is what makes us a lot better. And the more we have engagements like this, the better then we become. The topic today is office practices, procedures, and practices. I'd like to start with a question. But before I go, the presentation will follow an outline as being displayed. And then my question is, what makes an office to run smoothly? Some persons will say it's just the people. I will say, in part, yes, the people. Is it about the tools? Like many will say, the workman is as good as the tool that he has to work with. But overall, I think it's also about the systems and the standards that keep everything organized and keep them consistent and professional. The system, the people, the tool, all of these come together to make the office run smoothly. By the way, we have also noticed that of all the resources, the human resource is the most strategic in any office. So when you have your tools, you have those standards, the people are in a critical position in ensuring that the aims and the objectives, the vision of such an organization is achieved. Now, I try to look at what office procedures are. They are standards, step-by-step methods or instructions that employees, you and my good self, that we use, that we follow to perform routine administrative and operational tasks. We have many of our procedures documented in manuals and guidelines, and this helps everyone to be on the same page, perhaps in the same paragraph. Like the provost said, we are having more and more individuals who become or who try to become the procedure, who try to become the regulation. So I'm hoping that by the time we would have engaged this morning, you see where the limits can be and the direction that we can go. Meanwhile, we see office practices, they are like established habits, behaviors, and general workplace norms that guide how work is conducted within an office environment. Many times they focus on how people interact and how they communicate and then maintain professionalism. For instance, we leave our homes when we are not on leave. You work Monday to Friday, 8 hours expectedly every day, and that's about 40 hours a day. You see that most of our time is actually spent in the office. And so the least that we can do is to ensure that our interaction, our communication are done in the best of professional manner. Well, when you talk about procedures and talk about their documentation, for the University of Ibadan, for policies to be taken, the university adopts what I will call as its operational system, the committee system. And that's not strange because of where we are coming from. The university has a council, we have the Senate, we have other bodies, congregation as well. Each of these bodies are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring a smooth running of the university. However, they are mostly at the level of policy making. Those policies will be defined or described into what I will call processes. And in each of the process, you then have procedure of how we go about achieving those policies that have been described. And that's where we all now come in. Because those policies, when they would have been described, it is for us to now take them back home and see how they go into operational terms. There are so many guidelines that we have, so many procedures that we follow to ensure that we achieve those. I know the one that will concern each and every, because for us as a university, we are not only a research center, it's a university. So we have students, which actually differentiates us from other research centers. So we have an admission process, because if we take that out of the fabric of our university, we probably then will not be a university, or at least not a university of this kind. So Ibadan, for us, that committee system helps us to bring the best of the best, because you have different people sitting and sharing their ideas, and as a university, it is the most rational, most agreed to of the decisions that then takes over for that day. And I am not sure we've had regrets so far having the committee system as our operational pattern. The system is crucial, like I have said, for decision making and administrative effectiveness. Now, it helps us as a university not to have what we will call the one-man show. The one-man show. So that even while you have a chair, decisions are collectively taken. There will be no time that an individual will say, well, this is what I did. Rather, I will say, this is what we all have done. Well, I will take us through common office practices. They will help us to see where we are coming from and where we are today. By our dictate, we are expected to resume work at 8. I will not want to say when we will close, because of responsibilities that come before us. However, because of the agreement that we have, it is 8 to 4. But we have seen that that doesn't work many times. I'll come later to what might be the reasons for that. So, common office practices, punctuality, would expect respective communication, where you are interacting with your colleagues. How do you do it? What's the manner of interaction? There are some who crack jokes that sometimes you start to wonder, are you sure this is an office setting? So I would encourage office practice, common as we see, we interact, we communicate. Their work environment, I'm so impressed when I got into this hall. It's so neat, so well kept. I'm committing and commending the college management. Please keep this up so that, including not just here, thank you for that, not just here, but everywhere we find ourselves in our offices. I need to let us know that many of the offices that we use, they are not purpose-built many times because of our history. We are having a few common days that we will say are purpose. The thing, as when you go into teamwork, the team makes the work easier, and Many times, it is one characteristic of a good officer, of a good employee that you like to see. Are you the kind who come to the office cantankerous enough that once you come, then everybody starts to ankaras that are of salary of 1 year that makes you look good? No, but that you're looking neat and presentable. It also gives you the kind of dignity that you like to have. Confidentiality is an office practice that is common. Many persons will say that the kind of things that you bring to the open in the office, the schedule that you hold, will determine the kind of places you go, the kind of things that you say. And then we also expect that continuous improvement, the kind of which we have today, is okay to have for in the office, where continuously we are made better. Now, when we have looked at these common office practices, I'd like us to also share what we see as some of the benefits of good office procedures. I've already established the fact that those procedures, they are the step-by-step methods for you to achieve an operational task in the office. Why do we then think they are good? Or what can be achieved from having good procedures laid out for each and every one of us? I look at the first one, consistency in operational output. When you follow procedure, the chances, like they say, you are doing the same thing, you don't get to expect a different result. If you do the same thing, you follow the procedure as described, you are most likely going to get a good result. I give an instance. Our promotion guideline explains what is to be done. Now, it also gives room, for instance, where a superior is saying, or they are recommending or not recommending. Our procedure gives us the opportunity for you to, what we say, put yourself up, present yourself. And that is also part of the benefit of having procedure in place. Improved efficiency. When you have clear procedures, you minimize confusion. I need to say here that for many of us, we are on a journey. We are in a journey, especially when I talk about the registry staff. Today, you are here. Tomorrow, you are in another place. But what has helped to keep us running is the procedures that have been established. Because these procedures have been established, when you come, you can flow. And you can also present good results as others who have been before you. It helps us to reduce the errors because you know how to handle. It's described. Well, for those who are also just joining, for instance, you have recruited people newly. When they come in, no matter how or where their training might have been, they need to follow the operational pattern that have been described for that place. For communication, it helps you to better communicate because defined processes for information flow, they help you to avoid misunderstandings and ensure that everyone is on the same page, like I said. When you have procedure, accountability is also assured because it is easier to track who is doing what, when and how. And we are able to follow should anything go wrong. Good office procedures help us to assure quality control. They support quality assurance by providing a benchmark against which performance can be measured. For instance, most of the guidelines, we have timelines. By so time, you are expected to submit this. So you can benchmark, you can control operational work, and then legal and regulatory compliance. They ensure organizations adhere to laws and industry standards when you have good office procedures in place. I have described earlier, mentioned a few office practices that we have. If we keep to them, we will have some benefits that our organization, the college, the university, can benefit from. For instance, positive work environment. Good practices will create respectful, organized, and supportive workplace culture. When you do the right thing in an office, when you follow best practice in office work, you will engender positive work environment. It will help us to have professionalism, because as a professional will know exactly where to go, what to do, and how to do them. You will follow proper ethic. There are so many of these that I will touch as we move on. I've talked about team collaboration. If and when you stick to the best of office practice, you will have team collaboration. You will have respect for yourself. You will be attracted to by others who are with you. And like I said, that office will enjoy better collaboration. You have less conflict and improved teamwork. Surely, for a team that gives respect to the members, you would expect increased productivity. Increased productivity, because every member of the team gives regard to the other. And so it will help employees. You focus on the goals and you achieve them in an efficient manner. Every member of the team, too, will feel that sense of belonging. You have this morale, that selfness, that's what being self-worthy. You have that if you practice good office, if you have good office practices. Then resource efficiency. You have in many offices, some persons think that materials and items are just there to be wasted, to be used anyhow. Office practice, good office practice, will discourage that. Where and when materials that are supposed to be used to carry out certain tasks, I can assure you, you will not misuse them. And so, whether they are tools, whether they are equipment, we will have to use them in credible manner. Professional behavior improves stakeholders' interaction and enhances the reputation. I like to again commend the College of Medicine at this point because of the strength of the alumni. Who are the alumni? They are people who have passed through here. Now, what do we expect of each and every one of us in the office? We interact with them while they are students. How do we do that? I can assure you that perhaps most of what we are enjoying today stem from the memories that they have of this place. So, again, today I charge us to be more professional. I give a scenario. Somebody comes, because for the University of Ibadan, as much as I know, we do not have a defined break time, for instance. In some organizations, we have defined break times. But for us, we do not. So we expect initiative and we expect responsibility. Now, I also have mentioned the fact that Many of our office facilities are not purpose-built. So I find myself that I need to eat, I need to take some refreshment. And a student walks in. What manner of reaction is expected of me? How do I want that person to see me? I do not think there's anything wrong in that I'm eating my food, but I think there's something wrong in reacting to whoever has just come in. What I would expect is that I'm responsible enough to do it in a manner that will not jeopardize the reputation of the office, in a manner of my reaction or interaction with whether students, with whether other colleagues. It should be in a professional, responsible manner, to the extent that it will help us have image. Each and every one of us, actually, we sit as PR persons. We sit as image of the university. So at every time that we are having engagements with stakeholders, students, their families and friends, and other persons who approach our offices, I will urge us that we do this in a professional manner. Well, having defined or having looked at office procedures, sometimes it becomes a little difficult to even implement sometimes. And I try to look here at some of the factors that can mitigate against effective office procedures. If you have a policy that is not very clear or that is outdated, I give an instance, the promotion guidelines, I come to that again. Over the years, we have had changes. We have had additions and subtractions. And so, where and when these are not put in proper perspectives, it can become difficult to manage the procedure to follow. So, at every point that you need to act, you need to know which procedure to follow. When in doubt, please ask questions. I already talked about collaboration. So there is nothing out of place asking your colleague in the office or asking a superior, what happens to this? Well, inadequate training. I continue to charge us, and again, I put this at the table of my colleague, the college secretary. When officers are moved or when they are engaged, whatever knowledge that you have and the procedure, there is the need to have that connection. There is the need to make them come alive. What do I mean by this? When you come to a new place, I give HR, for instance. Yes, the procedures have been laid out. Files are stashed or stacked away somewhere. You have many persons who do not bother to look at what has happened in the past. The past has helped us to where we are, and whatever we also now do now will help us get ready for tomorrow. I'm saying here that that training requires you to see what has happened. How has these procedures been made organic? How have they been made alive in that office where you find yourself? Well, resistance to change. There are some persons who make procedure implementation difficult because they just do not want to change. They just do not want to come to the new thing. I give an instance here. In the past, before we came on board contributory pension, should unfortunately anyone be dismissed, they were left with nothing. Nothing and nothing at all. But now we have what we call contributory, is a contributory scheme. Should it even happen, what I described earlier, what becomes of that individual? The organization, our organization, is still responsible to give a note to that individual so that whatever he or she has as contributory can still be assessed. But I had this experience once when somebody came and the officer said, no, once it is like that, it's just the letter of dismissal and all that. And I said, okay, what then does this person take to the pension, to the PFA? And we had to design the kind, or adapt the kind of letter of disengagement that we give in regular terms to this same set of people. So where people are resisting change, procedure might also become difficult to implement. Communication is important. Where there's inadequate communication, like I said earlier, misunderstandings and errors can come up. Well, in the area of resources, we know that one major one is funding, and it can never be adequate. As I was coming here today, I was discussing with the college secretary, and I said, as a university, one major issue that we're battling with is electricity. And perhaps, maybe all the while that we were, in the good days, looking at generators to supply us, we probably didn't see this far, that procuring diesel will become what it has become today. So we know that funding will never at any time be adequate, regrettably. There are some models of universities elsewhere where the way government handles it is that what you need to train each student is defined, and government gives that to that institution, and so they can run well. But in our own case, we hear it is the envelope system. We are hoping that we'll be out of that soon, where we can have proper budgeting and the budget can be allowed to run. So where you have shortage of resources, it is obvious that it may become difficult, extremely, to have effective procedure managed. Where unrealistic expectations, lack of accountability, sometimes when individuals are not able to account for their responsibility, then impunity sets in. Procedure, like I said, where and when we are able to track things, to see the control of things, of operations, where there's a fault, what happens? What did you do with it? Is it always about, don't worry, just forget about it? No, every action that we take, they have their consequences, whether on the positive side or on the negative side. So how we deal with them, where we allow individuals not to be accountable, I can assure you that with time, the procedures that we have will be worthless. They won't just be anything for us. Where office politics, on whose side do I belong? If I go that way, these persons on this side will think otherwise. So, where and when I need to put procedure into good use, where you have office politics, be sure that it will rub off on your implementation or your following that procedure. Because, like I said, whose side will I be? So we will hope that we have less and less of politicking. Some persons have said that politics is good. It gives strength to life. But you don't do to the extent that it affects the soul, the heart of your institution. Technological issues, where you have outdated or malfunctioning technology. I remember in those days that some persons are asking now, where you need to have to present your papers, you say it's just on one page, on one side. But I try to flash back. At a time, we had typewriters, and it was difficult to put your, what do you call it now? Because we did cyclostyling then, it was difficult to put on both sides, you understand? And so, go to the guideline, you say, make underline so and so. But with technology nowadays, you may not necessarily underline, you can make bold, you can put in italics, you can design in several ways. So sometimes when you have outdated or malfunctioning technology, procedure can be hindered. Employee morale. Well, we've come a long way. In the last couple of years, so many things have affected us, and many still affecting us now. Well, we are hoping that as we are having the downside or having the fall in price of petrol, that it will continue. It is not significant yet. We hope it continues. Whether you like it or not, these things have affected all of us. Like, if you permit me, the children of Israel, they said, they were in Babylon, you say, they should sing a song. Even when they were in hardship, they were going through hard times. But, dear colleagues, we need to rise beyond that because of our calling. If we allow our morale to go down, because all of what has affected us, you find us affecting the procedure that have been set for us to follow in our individual offices. Well, where you have lack of feedback mechanisms and then inconsistent enforcement, today you say this, tomorrow you are saying that, it becomes difficult. Where exactly, what exactly do you want? You must be deliberate as to what you want. How the procedure, we've set the procedure. You can then not just be changing every now and then. We have regulations changing. Like I also said, for us as university, IPPS has come. We're out of IPPIS now. We are into GIFMIS, and then it became 38 months the last time, 38 days, and here we are. We are hoping that will not repeat itself. Financial controller, please, we are begging you, so that we need to be sure of how the regulations are. And it's a call, I charge us all to, that we need to rise up and be ready. Many will still come. Many regulations will still be thrown at us that will affect the way we do our jobs, whether we like them or not. I've mentioned that of the contributory pension. We are talking also now, we have had shift in retirement age and service in the last couple of years. That has come to stay with us. Who knows more that will come? Then workplace culture. The University of Ibadan has a robust culture, whether you like it or not. And I'm glad, because that's what has helped us to remain where we are till now. We might feel that we are not moving as we should move, but the truth is, other institutions still look up to Ibadan. Wherever you go to, what is Ibadan saying? And so, what kind of workplace culture have we put in place? I am glad that the posture of the university has remained as it started with. This is a federal university. It takes care of everybody. Perhaps I will not be here standing before you with the kind of universities that we are seeing gradually come up, the kind of implementation of recruitment that we are seeing. But for Ibadan, it's been so wonderful. If we are sure, I am convinced that we do not have a toxic or unproductive workplace culture in Ibadan. And so, where you have such, those are things that can affect implementation of procedure. And then where you do not allow for flexibility, it can hinder adaptability and innovation. You have many persons who say, no, this is how it just must be. But you must find, while keeping to the procedure that has been defined, you must look for smart ways to carry out your tasks. And I say, when you understand all these factors, you can proactively address potential challenges that will come. And of course, optimize your office procedure. For me to go on, I would like us to look at some common negative office practices. The truth is, we know ourselves. I know myself, you know yourself. So as I flash these points, what we expect is that we look at them and go the other way. And that's why I put them negative office practices. Because we are called as service people to give the best of ourselves. But where and when you introduce negative office practices, be sure that productivity will be affected, teamwork will be affected, poor communication. How do you give directives? How do you share ideas? How do you pass on responsibilities? Where it is not clear, surely there will be misunderstanding. There will be errors. You are not saying it the way, like the Yoruba will say, you say, I can say pele, and I can say pele. They don't mean the same thing. So, but you've left me to define it the way I like. Where and when it is clear, be sure that office will run well. Micromanaging, excessive supervision, this can stifle creativity. I'll give an instance. Because for us, our line of operation is you minute and we have hierarchy. Where you say, Officer XYZ, do this, please comment. Then the officer of his own looks at the procedure, looks at the guidelines, look at the rules and regulations that we have. You have asked comments, and he brings comments in his own way. But you'll be sure that some superior officers will say, no, take it back verbally and say, go and write it this way. No, you are not allowing for innovation, for creativity. You are seeking comments. When it comes as a superior, what is expected of you is to do what? You put your own perspective, especially when it's going to a higher level, and you can differ from the comment of the junior officer and put your own in proper perspective. Rather than you are guiding, this is what you must send to me. No. Gossiping. Oof. Do you know that the 50 billion is in this room? And this is one very negative office practice. It's so terrible that it can tear down an office, it can tear down our organization. Gossip. Did you see what he did where things that are out of place? There are rumors discussing colleagues' personal lives. Everybody has his own story. Let us live with our own. Let me live with my own. Procrastination. This is, many of us, we find ourselves tied down by this negative office practice. Well, there's still time. I'll do it. And then before you know it, there's no time. And then you rush up things. Whether you like it or not, they will not, your outcome will not have enjoyed the best of input. Disorganization. I try, sometimes those who come to my office, I say, no, this is not an office, this is a workstation because of the kind of responsibility of the office. But what I try to do is from time to time ensure that we rearrange things. If and when there is disorganization, the outcome from such a place cannot be of the best. Whether the way you keep your files, the way you keep your notes, the way tools have been arranged, once there's organization, sure that it will affect the way things run. Bullying or harassment. There's so much to say about this because it is unprofessional behavior and it can affect other persons who work with us. We can give several examples here. No one knows it all, but everybody knows something. And if and when we put the bits and pieces of what we know together, I think we can achieve better outcomes. As much as possible, the way we talk down on people, these are negative office practices. They affect the smooth operations in our offices. We should be conscious of them and see how much as possible, that we avoid them. I do not want to say so much about harassment. Of course, we have had instances where such acts have even been taken out of the university and handled elsewhere, almost as though criminal matters. Favoritism. I've already described that. Whether you like it or not, where you have a team, 1-2 persons, you will be engendered to the kind of display of their professionalism. So, but it should not be taken overboard. It should not be taken to a level that is too much. We must, as much as possible, try to treat employees, have a level playing ground for everyone. I talked about resistance to change, talked about the politics and accountability. Now, have you ever been challenged with wanting to carry out procedure as defined? Sometimes adhering to procedure comes with a variety of complex reasons. Some of them, a combination of your personal motivation, organizational pressure, and situational factors. Some persons think, I can do better. This procedure will hold things down. Is there a way I can just shunt it and move on? But I'll tell you why you should be careful. I give an instance. Sometimes it's not deliberate. I give an instance. As I speak with you, a transcript portal went down a couple of days. And then you have this alumnus who has come around. He gives us a sign that he travels the following day out of the country. He goes to a place where he has a fellowship, fully funded, and he needs to go with his transcript. The procedure is to go to that transcript application portal, make your application, make your payment, and then I can process. But here I have the image of the university I carry on my shoulders. This person travels the following day. If and when we do not get this document to that organization, that individual loses that opportunity. That individual will not in any way have good memories of Ibadan. Of course, I then took a decision. However, I needed to seek approval, which I got. As long as the money goes into the university coffers, or what do you think? The money goes into the university coffers, and then I was able to direct processing of that document, for which that alumnus is glad. For me, this is a challenge to the procedure that has been set in place. But I could have, as an officer, insisted, no, if you do not get this done, we can't get this done for you. But like I said, I got the required approval to enable me set aside for a short time procedure. Well, unfortunately, there are some persons who set aside procedure for personal gains and favoritism, like I said, is unfortunate. You have some administrators intentionally, deliberately, you avoid following procedure for certain reasons, so that activities that you have cannot be tracked, so that your personal gains, you can push them forward. Well, awareness and understanding, some persons do not even know. Why should this be so? Why do we have to do this? This can pose challenge to adhering to procedure. Pressure from superiors. Somebody comes, somebody you give regard to, somebody that you revere. He comes and says, this and that. Before you know it, if you are not strong, you find yourself setting aside procedure. And others, as I have listed, which we can see later. Well, as I want to conclude, I will describe a few other things or other activities or other actions as officers that can help you, whether to put in place good practices or ensure that procedure is followed. I've had instances where a superior said to me, I was writing, seeking approval of a higher body, and I wrote through that officer. And he said, no, we cannot process it. I said to him, no, the letter is not to you. It is to a higher body. What is expected of you is you like to initial it, to say you have seen it. You like to put your comment, to say, no, this that you are seeking is not right. For instance, I can write to the provost and say I want to become provost. I would expect that the officer in the provost office will not tell me, no, I can't get this letter from you. Rather, the provost will get the letter, minute to the college secretary to give me in a beautiful way why that idea is just being stupid. You understand? But not for you to say to me, no, I cannot submit it. For instance, a staff wishes to go take leave of absence. The procedure is that when you get that form, you call the departmental meeting. It is the decision of that departmental meeting that you put on the form. But you have an officer who says, no, I won't. No. What you have that form, what do? You put there, not supported for this reason. Or you put there, strongly supported. And then the higher body can look at it. Well, there's still so much to talk about. And I just charge us to say that robust office procedures and practices, they are more than just essential administrative tasks. They are valuable strategic assets that drive organizational efficiency. They boost employee satisfaction and ultimately lead to overall success. In fact, they help the employee to save him from himself. You know what I said? Save him from himself. They say absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Before you know it, the provost has described it, you see yourself becoming what you are not. You are an implementer. The procedure is what should guide you. Please remember that avoiding to follow due process, to follow procedure, can have significant negative consequences, including legal challenges, reputational damage, erosion of trust, how do they see you, and ultimately undermining the fairness and legitimacy of administrative actions. As I go away, I charge us as service persons, please go back to your offices. Let us put in our memory those negative office practices and set them aside and start in a new way. The position of the college is that this kind of training is to help us to remember who we are and we can be saved from ourselves. I want to thank you for this morning.
Please, let's give him a standing ovation. Thank you so so much, sir. You have given us something. Let's have a seat. Thank you so much. You have given us something to chew, something to ruminate over. I want to believe that we have started putting down our questions, or maybe there are some people who wants to come forward to ask their questions. But before we go on to answer questions, I want to acknowledge some of our people who came in while the presentation was ongoing. The Dean of the Faculty of Dentistry, Professor B. Kolude, is in the house. You're welcome, sir. The Dean of the Faculty of Nursing, Professor Priska Adejumo. You're welcome, ma. And we have the Director of IMRAT, Professor Ikeolua Ajayi. You're welcome, ma. I also want to acknowledge our online audience participants. There are so many of them, about 50 or thereabout. We acknowledge you. Thank you for joining us. Let's give them a round of applause. Now we come to the questions and comments session. Do we have questions? Any question from this area, from here, from, okay, we have one there. Any other person? Or maybe you have penned it down. All right, okay, we have two. All right. Before we go to your question, let's take the comment from our dean, our baby dean.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that I now have a baby on the other side of the university. So I'm growing up gradually. Thank you very much, sir, for that beautiful presentation. We're so grateful because it reminds us quite a number of things that we take for granted. And honestly speaking, we appreciate you. My comment is that every one of us, if we can just take note of the office we are right now and think back 5-10 years ago, who were the occupiers of those offices? And it comes to remind us that office in Yakowe, every office, excuse me, sorry, I didn't sleep throughout the night, I was working. So forgive me if my voice is croaky. The office that we occupy will outlast us, whether we like it or not. One of my very senior colleagues came to my office not too long ago. She was a big boss that taught me as an undergraduate student. And the secretary asked her to sit down. And she actually sat down. And I was in a meeting in the office for a long time. But I just came out to do something and I saw her. I quickly knelt down. Mama, you are welcome, Mark. You know, I was torn in between. The secretary, you don't know her. She's like, the answer, she didn't tell me like that. But what she was saying is that, but the demands, the courtesy demands that you are in an office, we're having a meeting. It is not the factor of who is coming. It's the factor of my responsibility to protect what is going on inside. And so I quickly adjusted myself. Within a twinkle of an eye, I said, okay, my might be known, that kind of blah, blah. So I went in to take permission from the people inside and I quickly attended to her and walked her back to the car. But the point is, yes, the secretary was right because, one, she didn't even know her. She was not there when she was my boss. She did not recognize her. She didn't know her. So she treated her like she would treat anybody because that is the office procedure. For me, it was like, how did you treat, Mama this way? But I had to also quickly adjust myself to the fact that she's doing her work. The point I'm trying to make is that this office that we are today, that we are the all and all, tomorrow we may come back and nobody recognizes who we are, that we are ever there. Therefore, we need to be emotionally intelligent. My comment is about office politics. The longer you stay in an office, the clearer it becomes that all of us are not politicians, but we are all political beings. You can be civil without being civilian. And all of these are not written anywhere. So it's a matter of how emotionally intelligent you are. And my comment is, please, let's go on and engage ourselves with different kinds of training and retraining. But sir, thank you very much for teaching us.
Thank you so much for that comment, ma. Okay, we have some questions here, but maybe I should call the people that raised up their hand to come from that row. Okay. Miss Ijegbai, you still want to, can you please come forward quickly to ask your question? Please, those that are online, kindly drop your questions so that we can take everything together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that wonderful teachings. I seek your indulgence to stand on the existing protocol. My name is Blessing Ijegba, a secretary from the main campus. I have two questions that emanated from the subtopic employee morale. Yeah, the system wants some things from us, and the system does not even care about job satisfaction. Are we satisfied with what we are doing? And yearly we do have this staff appraiser. We have pages where the system evaluates the staff. Can there be a page where we also will evaluate the system, that this is what we are gaining or what we are not satisfied with? Thank you for that. Then the second one is, I want to speak as a woman. Now, we've been told that you are expected to resume office 8 o'clock. You don't even know when you will go home. I'm aging. My output 10 years, 5 years ago cannot be the same now. And you are expecting the same or much. It's not possible. We are all human. So I want to beg the system, if our bosses can exhibit this emotional intelligence. As a woman, I'm over 40. Many of us are going towards 50. And we suffer a lot of health challenges, especially hormonal issue, menopause. And we are in the office, you see that this person is not okay, this person is not performing well, and you don't even care. What you're after is my performance. So I want to beg that if our bosses can just feel what we feel, so that the system is expecting something from us, we also are also expecting. For example, for the past 2 years, I've not been having good chair to work with in my office. And I have been requesting for this change of chair. Nothing was done. And I was exposed to occupational hazard. I suffer from lumbar spondylosis between December and March. I couldn't walk. I had that attack in the office. I was on a position, and I even requested from the department I was working with, please support me financially. It was turned down. So how do you expect me to give to the system? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let me call the second person so that presenter can just answer all the questions at once. Yes, Mr. Delacun, please. Quickly.
Yeah, good morning, the provost and every other very important members of the university. I want to ask this question. The definition of office processes was standardized, and it said it's a step-by-step method. It is to be followed by employees in delivering of their duties. But presently, though some of those standardized systems were written at a point, but now we have social media, we have online meetings, we have, because there was a question somebody was asking that when I'm sending official messages to him, if I use WhatsApp to communicate that message, that it's not seen to be official. Because after some time, we may not even be able to track that's what happened. So in the context of social media, current improvements in technology, how do we look at that standard of what processes, offices you run with? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to give our presenter the opportunity to answer the questions.
Thank you so much. I will like to start with the very last question, which talks about the impact of social media and improvement in technology. I give an instance. I lead the operations in the exams, records, and administrative data processing division. And one major item there, talk about certificate collection and transcript. And then before you know it, somebody calls me. Hello, blah, 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 and he's saying all of that. You know what I say? Please send a mail to my official email box. You know why? That phone is personal to me. And tomorrow, I can deny or refuse to agree that we discussed. But whatever you've put in the official email is there to be dealt with. So I would encourage you to be cautious. The truth is, social media has come, and it has come to stay. AI and everything about it. However, as we speak as an institution, we do not have yet the policy of acceptance as to the routes or the method of using those things. However, each one seated here has an email, that is linked to the University of Ibadan. I will encourage you as much as possible. You use that route, and you can refer such a person. Please check, we have sent so and so mail to you. That's that. Employee morale. When I came on board, somebody said to me that I will work in the University of Ibadan for 10 years. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean 10 years? Well, I've come here with passion, I've come here with interest, and special interest too. So he then sat me down, and we had a drink, and he tried to explain to me how my 10 years will be. He says in 10 years, they will know you, whether you are a lazy person. In 10 years, we will know this one, office presence is 0. This person, in 10 years, this one has no regard for constituted authority. In 10 years, this and this and this. And that's the philosophy of 10 years. I want to say to you that sometimes when you make requisitions and you have negative reactions to them, I hope they are not linked to our past. Someone who is not interested in the output of the office is the first to make demand of the office. How do you expect such superior or supervisor to react? That's on the one side. Now, I like to also say that we should not be deterred from requesting what will make the office better for us. But we do it in a manner that we are sensitive to happenings around there. I have already said to us, funding can never be enough. Never. It can't. However, we will find a way to prioritize. I am of the view that if your request is properly presented, you understand, with some collaboration and understanding, it may take a while, but I believe that if it is not beyond what that office can cater for, it will be addressed. Well, how do you handle a situation where a colleague tries to review for an upward, request a review of upward allowance without following the right process and procedure of office? I think the answer is in this question already. He has refused to follow procedure. With our allowances, they are stated. You have the graduation already. They are spelled and we have them documented. what will accrue to you, what you can enjoy, what you can benefit. The truth is, where and when you do not follow procedure, it's thrown out already. You must and should follow it in a procedural manner. I hope I've answered to that question. I think that should be all for now.
Thank you, sir. I understand there are online questions. Can you please help to project? The online questions, please. While we're waiting for that, there's another question here, sir. How can institutional memories help office procedure and practices? Institutional memories.
Well, institutional memories, I would say they will come in two forms. Like we said, those are the ones documented, and then the ones that individuals carry. Each of us, as we sit here, as officers of the university, I can tell you, activities in our office, 60% are with you. When you move, you are moving with the 60%. The 40 you have in documents. Like I said, I have an officer in HR. He comes and resumes work and never ever at any time had to take a look at existing files. What has happened before? There's just no way. There will be a gap, and that gap would have lost forever because he or she would believe I am good enough on my own. No. There were reasons where some actions were taken at the time they were taken. When you take your time to look at those documents, you can then close the gap and help you arrange and get ready for the tomorrow that is just going to come. You find each of us knowledgeable enough. That's the truth. However, personal knowledge, like I have presented there, should not override organizational knowledge. So you are talking about institutional memory. We all, for some reasons or in some ways, we have institutional memory. But do you know it can be distorted? Where and when they are not documented. That's why some officers, and I want to thank the college secretary, when he was exams officer, they try to pull what we call the SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, of each activity. And I'm enjoying that since I got there, because with that, we don't forget things easily. This is what should be done. Once I come into a year, I ask my officers, can I have the work plan for the year? And then it helps us. We would have sat on a round table to then see, well, after this is what we are doing. Between now and convocation, we already know what we will do, and we are getting ready for them. I hope I have answered that too.
Sorry, sir, we're having issues to projecting the online questions, but I have it here, sir. One question from Adebi Ayonleye Oyagbele. Say, what is the standard protocol for answering office phone call? That's one. Then it also says, how should confidential documents be handled and stored? That's, okay, take this.
Yeah, so the first one is about phone calls. I would say, I don't know whether I should say we are fortunate here or that we are taking things for granted. In some organization, in some climate, you do not go to your office with your personal phones. That's the truth in some places. But I would say, whether I say we are fortunate, let me say we are fortunate, but that we should not take those things for granted. Now, you have responsibility before you, and the phone just keeps ringing. Or like we have sometime when you have meetings, and the phone just keeps ringing. No. While it is personal to you, you must you must give due respect to the organizational setting, to the office setting. I think I talked about this somewhere. We say responsible officer. A responsible officer will know how and when to answer, what to answer. For instance, if you have a call, many times WhatsApp, and it's coming from outside around here, it might take a long call, but you have your superior right before you. And it doesn't just matter. To you, it's my phone. I should be able to answer my phone at any time. No. You are in an office, and I think you should answer in a responsible manner. I think I'll leave it at that. Then,
how should confidential documents be handled?
Well, it's I think the answer is there already. Let's call it confidential. But it looks like more and more Do we really have anything confidential? Because we have the tools for which we make them not to be confidential. There are some officers who, before you know, every document passing, they are just snapping. Every document passing, they are snapping. No, I've said it. For a responsible officer, you know exactly what is, some persons say, classified. There are different access levels. The level, some peep beyond what concerns them, and for which they then make those documents no longer confidential. I remember growing up as an officer, the deputy registrar then will sit and write a note, pin it, give it to me, take it to the bossa. I take it to the bossa, and the bossa writes something, pins it, and I'm taking it back. I don't even know what is inside. I'm just helping to move. But eventually, when the actions come out, then you know, oh, so that's what I was passing without me knowing. I think the word there remains what it is, confidential. They should remain confidential. And that's what will give regard to yourself, and then will keep the image of your university intact. I like to refer to one, for instance. I remember at one point, there was something about management of electricity distribution in our university. I think it was confidential. It was from an officer dictated to another. But then, before you knew it, it was everywhere. And we are even helping to share those things. No, they remain confidential. They have a strong impact on the image of the individuals and of the organization.
One more, sir, here. The management appraise every year, says what can be done to motivate staff who serve diligently with evident productivity as shown in appraisal form.
Thank you so much. If I ask each and every one of us now to submit a CV, many times, the last thing you will find there will be, and other responsibilities as may be assigned from time to time by the this and the this and the that. But when those other responsibilities come up and show their faces, everybody starts to move back. What you have written yourself. However, you see, for the kind of organization that we are in, you will self-motivate. That will be what I will encourage you. You have to have that passion. You have to have that drive from yourself. The truth is, the first motivation that we have is that we have employment here. The next is that our promotion, where you have avenue to move up, is defined. Where and when you do not enjoy your promotion, as and when you should, for no reason, is when I say then you are demotivated. But motivation is that I am able to get my promotion. The basic benefits are there. We do not have the kind of organization, or we are not in the kind of organization where in 6 months you can move. Well, some private organizations, you do well in 6 months, you can move every 6 months. That's not so for us. So I will just encourage us, first of all, please self-motivate, be self-motivated, and we should not be, the expectation should not be out of this world. We already know the system that we are in. You know the part of your career. You know when and what will come to you. What I encourage us is that you just walk and wait. A bit of things, well, maybe some honorarium here and there, but I don't think those ones are statutory. What is statutory for us is our promotion and our employment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. This last question, I believe this person should just go and check the staff information handbook. He's asking if there is a document of our rules and regulation for all members of staff. So please, the person should just go check the staff information handbook. Thank you once again, sir. Please, another round of applause for our presenter of today. We are so grateful for that which you have impacted into us today. Before we go into the Provost's closing remarks, I would like to invite our Deputy Registrar and Secretary to the College who has a few comments to make. or announcements to make.
Thank you very much. Let me start by appreciating the Provost for creating this platform, and let me thank all of us for our presence. I believe we've all gained one thing or the other. I want to appreciate our presenter for today, my DR when I was the examination officer, and my brother. You know, we have very close personal relationship. In fact, as of yesterday, I called him to discuss some official things. Well, the summary of the summary is that, let me just say it like this. You may not like the procedure, but you must know it, and you must comply. So it's just like that. It's not 10 commandments, but it's close to it. So you must know the 10 commandments, and then you must just comply. Thank you. And now, I have some... Also, I want to appreciate our deans. Thank you very much. Our Mama Dean, you are no longer BB Dean now. You are now Mama Dean. And we want to appreciate... thank you. We also want to appreciate the representative of the the Director of Finance. Thank you for coming. Our Dean, Clinical Sciences, thank you very much. I'm not giving the vote of thanks. Well, I have some announcements here. The first one is to tell us that our certificates are ready, but we have a list of 82 people who are unable to get their certificates because there is something wrong with their email addresses. Time will not permit me to call the names, but I want to plead with you, if you don't have your certificates yet for May and June edition, please liaise with Mrs. Enobabo and the organizing team. I have 82 names here, all right? And I can even see the name of the AR, HR&D, and the name of some of the members of the team organizing this. So please, let's all see them. Some of us I'm seeing here, our names are here. Yes, some participants online, I can see that they use their phones. So please, for proper identification, we'll plead that, because there is one Samsung GM A1145, there is one HP user 34330, whatever. So please, let's ensure proper identification. And the next edition of this lecture series, training series, will hold on 13th of June. And it will be, the presenter then is Professor Agulana. And the topic is, what is the topic now? Ethics. Why ethics? So please, let's keep it in our diary. And also, I want to plead with us, as follow-up on what the presenter mentioned. Please, when you send official correspondence, use your official email addresses. If you don't have one, please liaise with ITU. Get official email. And I also want to plead with us that if you send official notice on WhatsApp or other social platforms, ensure you support it with hard copies. We've had experiences where principal officers or senior officers are unable to attend programs because the secretaries are not adequately informed. So please, let's ensure we do this. And after June, the next edition in July, we'll also speak about our staff information handbook. So if there's any other thing, it will be communicated to us. Once again, I want to say thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir. I now invite our Provost, represented by Deputy Provost Professor S.B. Olale, for his closing remarks.
Thank you very much, PR Provost Office. The Secretary to the College and the DR said he did not make a vote of thanks, but he has laid the principle. He voted for all the thanks. I want to appreciate Mr. Ekemezie for that beautiful presentation. There are some things you don't pay for, but really you will gain more than those workshops that you pay for. This is one of them. What he has done is to open our eyes to those things that we may have known, but we may not be doing the right way. When I began to do office work, right as early as when I was in Maiduguri, University of Maiduguri, they used to tell us that there are customs and practices. And when I translated it to Yoruba, it is Asha, Ati, She, Aha. And what you have told us today contains both Asha, Ati, She. We may not be able to really expand them, but the truth of the matter is some are written down. Some things are not written down. Those things that are not written down, it takes years of experience to get them. And that is what we call institutional memory. It takes someone who has stayed long in a particular place to know certain things about the history of that particular place. He has touched on punctuality. He has touched on reliability. Punctuality, I was discussing with the Deputy Registrar and Secretary to the college, that this is an area where we really need to work on, whether we like it or not. That culture of punctuality is reducing in this system. There was a question. Somebody came and said, hormonal changes, growth, everything. And the question I ask is, people before us, did they not go through all those things? And they were punctual in their work. The history of hormonal changes or anything should not be in this century, be given as excuses for not coming to work very late. And anybody who is not, if the rule says resume at 8 o'clock, you must resume at 8 o'clock. If I have lecture with the students at 8 o'clock on Monday, Monday this week, since about 2 weeks ago, we started lectures with the medical student. My driver knew that 8 o'clock, I would be in the preclinical lecture theater for lecture with the medical student. On 2 occasions, he didn't come at 8 o'clock. When it's 7:45, I drove my car to the lecture theater. You see, I will not be the one that will be making excuses for somebody's failure. When I get to the class and I harass students for not coming on time, then I should not be the one that will get there after 8 o'clock. So if you are supposed to resume in your place of work at 8 o'clock, nothing should stop you from resuming at 8 o'clock. Secondly, the same set of people that we complain of having this, having that, and you see them in some other places at that same time when they are supposed to be in their place of work. Where is the ethics there? We need to work on all these things. It's very important. He talked about confidentiality. That is another thing. He has mentioned it, that maybe technology is the one that is making confidentiality to actually go down in our work, especially we that call ourselves confidential secretaries. When you see your head of department not trusting some things to you, you should ask questions. You should ask questions. And I was just jokingly telling the secretary to the college that politics will come in when somebody stays too long in a department. When somebody stays too long in a department. I was the head of department, and I saw situations where matters that are supposed to be in the file of a particular lecturer, somebody who is not that lecturer so gets the information and confronts the HOD. This person should have resumed on so date, and you begin to wonder who gave that information to that other lecturer. Because politics are certain. He went to that person, gave that information, and that person now wants to use it. I mean, a confidential secretary should be a confidential secretary. And I think he has given us that information today. We should be up and doing on that. I should be accountable for any failure that comes from me. And I think all of us should be able to say that when I fail in my responsibility, I should be accountable for that. That's why I said, I will not say it is my driver that made me to go late for my 8 o'clock lecture. I will have to find ways of doing that. But I will have to ask the driver a question why he did not come to pick me. That is administration. That is pure administration. And we need to all be responsible for that. We saw the JAM registrar. Owing to the error, that is the overall edge of JAM. But I know it did not stop there. I know at individual levels, they would have investigated, and those people who are involved in the glitches will be held responsible. That is accountability, and he has told us about that. So I believe that today we have had enough to make us better workers in our various places of work. And the last comment, the last question on the screen, somebody was talking about appreciation for those, because we do appraisal every year. I know at the last registry discourse, I could remember, there was this plaque, rewards that were given to those who performed excellently at the different, 2 people were identified. And I, I was telling the college secretary, and he said, there's a proposal on that. So I believe that at the end of this year, in the College of Medicine, people will be rewarded for productivity. I believe that that will be done. So I share that sentiment of that individual, that the system wants to have information about the productivity of people, but at the same time, we also need to reward those who are highly productive in the system. On this note, I appreciate all of you for coming for this, and God bless you all. Somebody asked a question on, or remind us of fire extinguisher training. This is being planned by the management. So very soon, there'll be a release on trainings on fire extinguisher. We do not pray for any fire, but it is very essential in the workplace for everybody to know how to take care of such emergencies. So we are working on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for helping us to buttress some points, sir. And I believe that today we have taken in much that we need to go and chew, digest, and make sure that it's fruitful in all that we do in our places of work, in our units, and the Lord will help us. Please, let's rise up for the first stanza of the national anthem as we close. BCC, please.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
Thank you very much. Can we all go back to our respective offices? But our dean, sir, and our director, please, can you come down? We want to take a group photograph with the presenter of today before we go.
mi gbọ́rọ̀ kan